Hello and welcome to part two of Culture and Yu-Gi-Oh! For the Gravecast. This is something that we're doing in our own Discord, which is NDL's Graveyard. So if you want to take part in those future things, maybe not. You don't really have to be a Yu-Gi tuber for those kind of things. Don't worry. But if you want to take part of these, just join Discord. It could be cool. The Discord server is growing, and there are a lot of really, really cool people there. Yeah, you're more than welcome to hang out. And just like last time, all you have to do is to put your headphones, either do your chores or whatever you do in normal day, or just kick back and relax. No video, just the audio. So I hope you enjoy this last almost hour, and we're going to start off a little bit before the end of the last video, just to catch you guys up. See you all next time.
Think kiwi disconnected? I don't know.
Maybe. I can ask him, which is kind of annoying, but sure. Let's do it.
Yes.
Until they will come back, I will ask him directly why, what happened. But
Of course.
we can talk about something else.
Yeah, I mean, here, culturally, I think we don't have a problem with cards, actually, or the card pictures, because most of them are clearly like human beings and mythical creatures. And here in Mexico, we are more open to that kind of stuff. I mean, we have the Jaguar warriors in the Aztec culture before Spain came to conquer. And yeah, we don't. I think we will be proud even if Konami made an archetype based around the Mexican culture. They made one around what is it called, the Inca culture.
I think
But
they're
I think
one that they're also like made Eldritch. I think is supposed to be reference to Mexican community like thing or something like that, or temples in Mexico or
I
whatever.
think yeah, I think it could be, but I don't know if it's from
Oh, unfortunately,
Mexican directly.
He's gone down. Probably he's trying to reconnect, but yeah, he's gone down for a second, folks. So sorry about that.
Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I think Eldritch is probably Mexican, but I think it's Mexican post conquer when Spain has already established here in Mexico. And I like the archetype as
Can
images,
you
as
talk for a
picture.
second? Kiwi's here. Like, we'll let you think your thought, YT. I just want to hear if he hear us and everything is okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, wait, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. We're going to
Yeah, what
let
happened?
YT finish his thought
Okay,
because
where was I at? Where was I at when it
you
cut
talked
out?
about something with Simo. We'll get back to it. I just want to finish something with YT because it's really small. It's going to take for a few moments to just like finish that thought and
All
we'll
good.
go
Yeah,
back.
sorry about that, folks.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Happens.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, we were talking about the Eldritch archetype and how it can represent the Mexican culture,
A
but
little
the one
bit.
after the Spain culture, the Spain conquer. Sorry, and I really like the pictures in the archetype and the names. Conqueror is a pretty cool name for a card,
Yep.
but I don't know. I think I would like something pre-Hispanic.
Yeah, I mean there is Pendelamucho for Mexican, but I just don't
I
count
was
that.
thinking of Pendulum Mucho when Kiwi talked about his national bird
That,
animal
that
represented.
card is so dumb looking, but it's so great.
Yeah, we have a love when we see Pendulum Mucho. It's on the one under $1 card bulk. I think every time I go to locals, I see Pendulum Mucho. So yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, I would really appreciate an archetype based on pre-Hispanic culture. We have a lot of that and many different tribes here in Mexico. But yeah, I think Eldritch is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It certainly has some cool inspirations there, and I can see where that's coming from. Absolutely.
The one thing that I do think that Eldritch also remind me of is the story about if you know the Greek story from the Greek mythology about Midas, like the king with the gold and stuff like that. It remind me, but I know it's not based on it. It just remind me about that a little bit as well.
Yeah,
Was that King Midas?
Yeah, in
yeah,
your language, like in English, is Midas, but for us it's Midas. So yeah,
yeah,
shut up.
Midas,
Ah,
El Rey Midas.
Shut up. I'm going to talk in Hebrew even if you don't want to. Shut up. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
It's okay. I'm just being a jerk sometimes. It's fine.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Reminder to the viewers, it's 7 a.m. over NDL's time, so do
Oh.
forgive him if he gets a bit angry with us.
We're like, I like my necromancer, like Gravekeeper a lot. I like you a lot, YT, but like, I just to be honest, I knew Casual Kiwi a little bit more. Not like real life friends, but he just essentially opened, like, kind of helped me open up to a little bit more of like working with others as well. So that's actually, I think, for him a little bit.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Anyway, let's get back to that. If you have anything like to add, YT, for like the Mexican stuff, we'll be happy to hear it for a second. Other than that, we can just go back to what we left off when Kiwi Wood got cut off.
No, no.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure
I
what
think we
happened.
can continue on that because if I can barely speak Spanish, I don't think my English is better. So
It's fine. Anyway,
From what I heard of the conversation, I think you were coming across well from the deck. So don't worry there.
I'm
yeah.
sweating here,
uh,
and I have like my legs jiggling all around. But okay.
I mean, in the coalition of scrubs, we have somebody though, like with a really, 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 really heavy accent. You know what I'm talking about? Third world. Like you have a person with a really, really heavy accent, so that's not really a problem. I think. Like it happens. Whatever.
yeah, and sometimes that can be a positive thing. It lends some distinctiveness to the
Hmm.
sound of your voice.
I mean,
Um,
Israeli and one with like having like a, how should I say this, accent, Israeli accent for your English is not a good thing. Never a good thing. But apparently, people say that it almost sounds like I'm actually American, or at least close to that, by my friends that are actually American or came from there, which is nice, I guess.
I
Yeah,
mean, people often say I have a bit of a New Zealand accent, though. I
You
think
don't
a lot of
say.
New Zealanders would say I don't.
here in Mexico we have an accent that is called ñero. I'm not going to do any favor to Mexico right now, but it is like sing at the end. You sing it at the end,
Hmm.
like ¿Qué pasó, compa? ¿Cómo has estado? So it's really
Interesting.
heavy, and if you
Mhm.
hear people talking ñero in English, it is really funny. I think it's really fun.
But it's very distinctive. It's kind of like the American South compared to uh, the the higher up in the continent.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to the Yugi tubing thing you wanted to talk about, Kiwi, because I think it's
Yes,
very
yes.
interesting.
So yeah, sorry for the cattle.
That's
Um,
fine.
but essentially, what I was trying to say was that there was this older tournament called uh, the Next Great Yugi Tuber, and Simo was involved in I think the third one of those when he had only 8 subscribers.
Jesus.
And it's really you can look it up. You can find his audition online from the Next Great Yugi Tuber. Um, and he's definitely got lower grade equipment than he does now, but you can see that same enthusiasm coming through that he's known for now. With the Simo, and that's remarked on as well. But I think that gave him his first platform to grow on the
Oh,
channel.
yeah, I actually searched
And
that.
that.
And you see Simo without
Mm.
glasses at the top thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, little Simo, young Simo.
5 years ago, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's real old school. Um, but I find it fascinating because
What's good,
that was the
YouTube?
kind of
Oops.
environment that Simo kind of grew his channel was where the gap between the larger channels and the smaller channels was quite slim, and it was very much, um, if you were a Yugi tuber, you could interact and you could, do these kind of things.
Hmm.
Where I think the Yugi tuber Grand Champion, while it can help uplift, already growing channels, like I would not be surprised if, someone like Ruggles was in the Yugi tuber Grand Champion. I
Okay.
think the idea of someone
Oh, good. You're cutting a little bit again.
is pretty out there.
Okay,
I
you're
got most of
back.
it, but
I don't know
every word.
what's wrong with your audio. Maybe it's because we're different countries, but it's like I hear you like going down right now a little bit. It's like going to be like a little bit on the low one, and like then don't hear you, and then hear you correctly right now again. I don't know what's going on, but sure. Hopefully, it will not affect way too much of the recording. But sorry, guys. Um, different.
Fingers crossed. No, it's all good, man. I know the struggle. Um,
Yeah, if we're
yeah.
talking about it. He's doing big things, which unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to be there the last time, even though it doesn't really matter. But I wasn't able to be there last time because you never do it in the day that I can. Great.
Yeah, it's really tricky trying to find a time that works for so many people. Because for those who don't know, I do something called the casual cast. It's very much people jump in, as they kind of please and add to the conversation as it goes along.
And
We usually do it for a
reverse, and
couple of
sevens,
hours.
and zeros, and unos. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of covers whatever, comes to people's minds. But the last one is being referred to as the corrupted cast
Because it
because,
got destroyed.
unfortunately, about half the audio was lost. So I'm producing a series of very odd videos out of what remains.
I like to
But
call it
from the deck,
destroyed.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, oh, yeah, from the deck, you were there for most of the casual cast last time, weren't you?
yeah. I went like at the end of the first part that you uploaded, and
Mm.
to the start
Mm.
of the second, and I finished when everyone was discussing about Max T and if we should come back,
Hmm.
like half an hour
Yeah,
hearing arguments about.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was very much one of the big things at the end of part three. Not the only thing, but yeah, you actually managed to stay for most of it, man. As it turned out,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
things.
It was before they told us to continue giving class online because I give
Uh,
English classes.
I wonder if I
Actually,
should
mm.
change the name of the video because we're just venturing to so many different things.
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
So sorry about that.
No,
Yeah,
no, not a
didn't mean to
problem.
get
Not a problem.
sidetracked.
It's fun. It's just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
maybe we should change the
Well, to
name.
tie it back in, I think something that's really cool about this here, from a cultural thing, is that like NDL, you've hit a massive milestone really recently. You've just hit your
I
1K
mean,
subscriber mark.
we
Congratulations,
could
man.
say it's actually
Yeah.
it was happened yesterday at the time of this recording. It doesn't matter, even if I'm going to edit it later. I don't
Depending on
care.
when it goes up. But you've hit that awesome milestone. Um, and it's really cool that you've still taken the time to chat with me, who's on about 260 subs, and from the deck, who's I think still working towards 50 subs
Yeah,
around there.
Do I
I'm
need
under 25, I think,
Do I need to
hopefully.
repeat myself? I don't care how many subs you have. Do I need to
Yeah,
repeat
but
myself
that
every single time?
never lose that, my friend. Never lose that, because I think that is part of what um, is unique about the small YouTuber community, right?
Yeah,
Is that we all follow and support each other, and we're engaged with the rest of the small YouTuber
yeah.
community.
One
And
of
it's
the
really
thing
special that we get to
mhm.
get those perspectives out.
I'm hoping that nobody will forget them. Also, I need to check something for a second. I'm sorry that I need to go. I need to check if my little sister woke up. So, just give me a second,
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
no worries.
Sorry. Sorry for the
all good. We'll
difficulties and
just
stuff
sit
like
tight.
that. It just things happened. Life, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
don't worry.
that's fair. So I'll just click pause in the record, I imagine.
I think so. I think he paused. If not, I will continue recording. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. I'll wait till he gets back. That's all
Okay,
good.
we're good. I thought I
Oh,
heard her, but she's not talking yet. She's a sweet little angel at the age of 10. Like her a lot. Also, very
Oh,
very
that's
smart
great.
for her age. Like very smart for her age.
You love to hear it.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you
everybody
know.
have a problem.
You,
Like all
you
of
know,
us
if
have.
she's smart for her age, you should get her a pendulum then and put it to the test.
My my sister has an Asian year leg
I
actually.
mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if English was our first language, I would say you're right. I should do that. But English is our second language, bro. Still our second language.
Do, do they publish Yu-Gi-Oh cards only in English in Israel, or
I mean, you do have access to get different languages, but you don't have Hebrew. Like, Hebrew was never official, essentially. Like, we had like printing.
Mm.
If I'm not sure which set. I think what it called, the one like chaos something. I don't remember that one. Like dark. I don't remember. Like
Dark
one.
Neostorm?
No. I'm talking about like one of the old ones, like dark something. Forgot the name of that one. It's one that a lot of old YouTubers like to open it as an old set. Dark Crisis or something. I'm not sure. Regardless, the point is, we did have that, but it was never official. If we're talking about actually a culture, I think it's actually content to a culture. And Konami essentially never made it official, so these cards are not legal ever. They were just
Oh,
created,
Oh, I see.
which is kind of a
I
shame. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like there are actually look like legit cards. They're just never official. Like the companies actually make them legit. It just Konami never like at the end like decided to no, we're not going to do that because it's not really profitable because you're a small country of only 8 million people at the time, I think, or should I say 6 million at the time. Right now it's 8, and not everybody buys the cards, so it's not really that profitable.
I mean, if they're at least made by Konami, then they should be allowed to be official, even if they were crap.
Yeah, but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they decided to essentially like cut us off with that one.
Mm,
It's kind of weird.
yeah, I think yeah, I think it's bad. I think because think about it for a second. You know that when I make Yu-Gi-Oh cards in Spanish,
Hmm.
Mm.
well, you cannot actually work well the PSCT with Spanish Yu-Gi-Oh cards
Right.
because they changed the some things at the translation.
One of the biggest problems I have also with some people actually that like you don't get your own language or actual like it's actually talking about the mechanics of the card game, which is might actually going to be a series that I want to do myself. Maybe if you guys want to be like actually compare Yu-Gi-Oh to different card games, that's something else later. It's one of my projects essentially, but like one of the problems that I have with Yu-Gi-Oh, which I think some of you also have that problem. I'm talking also to the audience, is that we don't have keywords, or should I say, like something that actually make the text understandable. Yu-Gi-Oh is very complex, and you have ignition effects and stuff like that. You don't have keywords for those kind of effects. It's like it's really annoying because you have a lot
I
of text to
mean,
read.
yeah, I mean, I would agree with you on older cards. There's definitely some older cards that have real issues with problem solving card text. And a lot of the FTK enablers had that issue of where, they were made before,
Yep.
once per turn clauses and things were added. But I think with more modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards, we do have problem-solving card text. Just knowing to look that up and learning the little things that kind of go into that. Because there is a standardization now with Yu-Gi-Oh cards to avoid exactly that problem, NDL, that people aren't sure when an effect will work and when it won't.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
also
but the problem is that actually PSCT is more about the format and the punctuation
Mm.
than just the words. That's, I think, the problem. Because just an example, magic cards, flying, you cannot block my flying, and reach, you can block flying creatures with reach. That's pretty simple. Just one word, you know what it does. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't have that. You have to look at punctuation marks
Hmm.
and the format of the text to know what the card does actually.
Now, I
And I think
do
the biggest.
I do think like the not reading text lazy people still exist, but I want to be honest with you right now is like sometimes I myself, like as you say, like in combo videos and stuff like that, and people actually let me in the comments know that I made a mistake because let's be honest, remembering all this text and essentially also like remembering the Cyber Dragon Infinity is a hard once per turn effect to overlay on Nova, it's sometimes you forget those kind of things. It's like oh, that's what it does. That's why it doesn't work. It's like that one is a really simple and maybe even stupid for some people, but like sometimes like you're playing a lot of decks and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I don't remember that, and I see people are actually making big mistakes. Big Yugi tubers also make mistakes, and we just tell them like you don't need to hate on a person who just don't remember. Like if they're trying to be lazy and don't read the effect, makes sense. Be a little bit of like tree, be a little bit like that to them. But like if they're just they just don't remember this one card, it makes sense. There are so many cards in the game. It's not like other card games. It's like you have set rotations, which is a big thing. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. It's important to remember that YouTubers are people too.
Yep.
We're only human.
I mean, you are only human. I'm just a monster, but whatever. I'm the goat daddy. Actually, I changed the name for that, but yeah. We had a joke with what's his name again? I forget. I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, but you can Deka, I think the name. How you pronounce that? You know what
Oh
I'm talking
Yeah,
yes.
about.
yeah. He's happy to go by UK as well.
Yeah. He specifically just decided that like the name for me is the Goat Daddy because we had to talk about about a few stupid things about essentially that we don't care about the religion because at the start I want to be honest like I'm actually really open about this right now that I'm Jewish but like I kind of like was a little bit of scared about this because I know how a little bit how people could be like jerks, and it's really nice that a lot of you guys, especially the smaller community and stuff like that, just like cool. You what you are. You don't. We don't go over you like that. It's one of the things like yeah, I'm actually very very nice about it right now for everybody, but like I really was like kind of scared of it from the start. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, I can definitely empathise with that. I've had things that I haven't wanted to talk too openly about in the past. Because I was worried about how I'd be perceived. Like things like my epilepsy and things like that. But
Oh,
I found that once people knew about that, they were much more understanding of the condition
I mean, there are some
and
people
were
that are
willing to accept those things.
yeah. There are people that are always going to be hatefuls and jerks and stuff like that, which you cannot stop that. And I came to conclusion with that. It was like, I'm just going to say, like, I said that for a few times for my subscribers, like, we're not here for talking about things that are not Yu-Gi-Oh related or just, for having fun. Like, if you want to talk about religion and stuff like that and, like, what I call, forget the word for it. You know what I mean? Like, what happening in the world and stuff like that. I don't know why I forgot the word.
Yeah,
But essentially, like, if you want to talk about that, that's your issue. We can talk about it one on one, or just make video for that if you really want to. But I just don't want to talk about that because it's not something that interests me to talk about. There we go, politics. I'm not really interested to
Oh,
talk about that. Like, really much not so. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people just coming on to a particular gaming channel, you're not interested on talking about politics. That's not interesting. That's not the subject.
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it certainly hasn't been explored very often. And I think in general, people, they're there watching your content because of the Yu-Gi-Oh rather than other factors.
Yep. But there always will be
Yeah,
those that just don't like your stuff and just say, "Oh, you're doing this wrong," or you're just being like you don't let that people talk when you talk or something like that. I actually had that once when I actually almost didn't talk about like particular like friend locals like recording his deck, and it's like I just mentioned something that he forgot, and people just there's one person just decided I'm not letting the other one talk at all, and it's like cool. I just talked one sentence in the entire video, and you decided that. Great. And that way, like some
Yeah,
people are just want to be hateful for hateful, or just it's annoys them. It makes sense. There's different kinds of people, but just don't be hateful for no good reason. There's no reason for that.
Here, here.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
And people will make things you don't fully understand. Some,
I mean, I
but
don't.
if you dislike that content, then there's plenty of other things to watch.
Do you want me to be honest? While I am sub to all of my friend YouTubers, I don't have the time to watch all of your stuff. Let's be honest here. Like nobody, like Third World said to me that bluntly in like one of the streams that I was part in. He said like he's a great YouTuber. He said that to everybody of his viewer. But I said like, but I don't have the time to watch all of his stuff. And I said to myself like at the start I could have been like, oh that's hurtful, but it makes sense. We all have so many subs for
Yeah, I
different
mean,
content.
yeah, it's understandable that a person can't watch every single video on a channel necessarily right away because like that's a lot of content to go through. My philosophy has always been with it that people can watch my content if they want, obviously. But like if you can't watch all of it, that's fine. If you do want to watch all of my content and you'll find that rewarding, then that's even better. But you shouldn't feel like you have to watch everything, to feel like, you have, you know, you shouldn't feel you have to watch everything. But
Yeah,
it's great if you do.
and let's be honest, only 10% of our subscribers are actually watching every single video. It's actually a known fact. Because let's be honest here, you don't have the time for every single one of us. I'm just talking about like for you viewers at home, it makes sense. If you're subbed and watch here and there, that's fine. Just don't feel obligated to just be subbed for no good reason. If you enjoy one here and there a video, go right ahead. If you're just like subbed because you want just to help, also go right ahead. But like, don't feel obligated to be subbed to anybody. Like, there's some YouTubers that I sub to, and it's like
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy their content and went away, and then enjoyed their content and came back, and it's like it's weird depending on the situation.
NGL, you're breaking up slightly.
God damn it, I hate my connection.
Yeah.
God damn it, Napa. At least for the
Guys,
recording,
I
I
can't
think.
hear you too well on my end.
I think for my recording, it's
Can
at
you
least
hear
good to
me
go.
okay?
Yes,
Yes, we hear you fine.
we need to be
Okay, I'm
aggressive
going to
about it.
briefly connect and reconnect. Hold up a second.
God damn
Yeah, don't
it.
worry.
I don't really care because I don't think this video is going to be monetized anyway, but worst case scenario, I'll just put the beep voice.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think, like, one thing that I want to be honest with a lot of people is that I know that there's some other YouTubers that it's not a bad thing, but you want to be just monetized. I think we talked about it a little bit, but like that's not the main thing that you need to focus on when you create content. I mean, it's good if you want to make this your job, and I am angry that a little bit that YouTube kind of make it a little bit harder to reach that goal, but it makes sense. Okay, now we can't hear you at all. Right.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Whew, okay, I'm back. Sorry for that scare, folks.
Yeah, Discord could be a little bit of annoying. It's a recording thing, but it makes sense. It's pretty much the best one for this kind of thing. In my country, they're using a lot of Zoom right now, but I just find Zoom to be really, really annoying, and I don't want to every 40 minutes to talk
Yeah,
later.
I think that there's questions to be had over Zoom. Discord's been far more reliable for a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah.
So why not?
Also, we're going over an hour now. So that's cool. Anyway, what do I want to talk about? Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yes, sorry. It seemed like there was an awkward pause. From the deck, are you still there?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just hearing everyone.
So, Anyway, just want to say that, like, to finish the thought, monetization is nice, but should not be the main focus of a channel, unless, of course, you just say bluntly this is your main focus, and if people follow you, sure. But I like creating things for creation's sake. Sure, I like to get monetized, of course, because I want to get, like, essentially, like, more money into the channel to help the channel grow, and kind of like have cycle in, but it's like it's not the main focus of everything I
Yeah,
create.
and I think that it's a mistake for us to aim necessarily to be the next, CMO or the next Team APS because they came about in a different environment. We need to think about, what will separate our kind of generation of Yugi tubers from the one before it.
Yeah.
And I think what's becoming more and more important, is the smaller community, like,
Hmm.
those who will engage with your content, um, long term and, about building a community around your channel more so than just chasing views and clicks.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Some of us are essential. Like, not saying that, like, we're going to see CMOs leaving tomorrow or Team APS, but they are going to leave one day and just leave it for the next generation. Which I'm not sure is going to be us, but you know what I mean. It's like it's going to be a next generation one day. As much as we
Yeah.
don't want to
But,
admit that.
I think, yeah, we can't wait for them to pass on mantles because, especially now with the level that, more business oriented YouTubing has got to, people like Simo, and Team APS could make a living off
Hmm.
YouTubing indefinitely, and they have the connections. Well, I'm not sure about Simo; there's a whole other thing, but
Yeah.
they have connections with Konami now, which I don't think Galactic God ever had that kind of relationship with Konami, but modern large YouTubers do, and that's something that is not really tenable to compete with on a one-to-one level.
But is a good thing that Konami actually talk with them. So that's important actually.
It
Yes,
could be, it could be.
The fact that
It's certainly interesting.
Mhm. The fact that Konami Europe actually talks with Farfa a lot, that's a good thing already. At the very least, I'm like, trying to understand the community. Like, I know that, like, Konami Europe really, really get Farfa to a lot of things, so that's actually an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Also,
I think, yeah. Go on.
no, it's fine. Just finish it. It's a different thought, so it's okay. Just go and finish what you wanted to say first.
But yeah, I think that the lesson to be taken is that we need to think about what new um, places YouTubing can go. And the other example I mentioned earlier before the whole SEMO thing was around the examples of Ruggles and Clowny Night.
Hmm.
And the reason I brought them up is because they show how diverse Yu-Gi-Oh has become culturally. Because Ruggles is very much kind of in the same vein as, I guess, those larger channels like, Nim Nim. I think he models himself up, um, you know, he models himself on a lot. He's all about big production value, snappy editing, having a clear story running through his content. And
Hmm.
I think that's really helped him get into that scene of more, high production, large
YouTubers.
Yugi tubing, which I think is very interesting. And then you have Clowny Knight, who is definitely not investing the same financial effort into his videos, but who obviously puts a great deal of time and effort into creating, like the dankest 101 videos on the internet. Just really, really funny, good quality, replay content.
Yep.
Um, and, that has taken him up high. Like, him and Ruggles have about the same number of subscribers, but Ruggles has very much fitted in with the larger Yugi tubers, whereas Clowny Knight, I think, has really found a place with the 101 Yugi Tuber community, which is smaller, but is also, got a lot going on.
Hmm.
And I love that there is that level of choice these days as to, what you put in and where you could end up. It doesn't have to be a linear progression, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's really good to have an option to do stuff. And not like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. And one thing I would say, like each and every single one of us trying to bring out, yeah, sure, the content that you all see, but we also bring out our own different things into the table. Like, yeah, I like if any one of you want to say his own thing, what he does special, you're more than welcome to. In a second right now.
Um,
It's a tricky one actually. You go first from the deck.
Yeah, you.
I don't have anything.
I mean, you
I'm,
do
I'm
something interesting, which is like the deck profiles, which are combines of heroes, which, or should I say, protagonists and stuff like that, which is not something you see a whole lot that people actually try, which is fusion decks, I think you could call that, or should I say, like,
yeah,
in,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think about this as you take a main deck, you choose from two archetypes. You choose the one that you know you have many options to play, and then you are a motor of other deck that works perfectly fine and doesn't have any trouble playing with that deck. That was
mm,
the lineup that I followed for the first one, the Dark Magician, Neospatian,
mm-hmm,
and for the
Mm.
second one, which was the Odai's go something, is that basically you can pendulum summon any number of monsters and then just exceed them into Utopia and OTK your opponent. In fact, that's actually the problem right now because I tried two different combinations, but I don't find anything interesting about it. I combined rockets with cyber darks because there are level 3 rockets that you can summon and then you normal summon the cyber darks,
it
but that
also makes sense
didn't lead
because of
to anything.
two, I would say, rivals, essentially.
Yeah. And then I tried um, a speed roid with the roids that that were playing GX because roids can summon speed roids and speed roids can summon roids, and but that didn't lead to anything because essentially the synergy there is that they just can special summon themselves and then you are locked in fusion or in synchro. You cannot
Mm,
summon both of them in a turn.
yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, there's been a real effort from Konami to make sure that speedroids and roids do not support each other, which is quite sad to
Yeah,
see.
you see that also in one of the last support for Roids, which was like the mixer one, I think, that doesn't work with wind Roids. So essentially, they don't support each other.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that. I mean, why do you care? Like Roids already suck anyway. To be honest, like why do you care
I
to give
guess
him
it
a little
was
bit
just
support?
more interactions to keep a handle on. What if something happened that, I don't know, made the one really broken?
I don't
Yes.
think there's something that from Speedroids that could break Roids, but whatever, Konami, sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, but actually, I'm just having trouble. If you have any suggestions for that series, the Deckmasters Mix Up, you're
oh
free to
yeah,
do
it
that
has a
right now.
name, Deck Masters. I forgot.
I mean, when I was younger and watching the anime, Summon Skull was always my deck master of choice. I had a toy figure of that monster, and so I was like, awesome, this is going to be my deck master.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Big attack points go burr.
Well, I would say I didn't really have someone from the original that I would pick as a deck master, but if there was something from the future series, it probably will be pretty obvious. But yeah, uh,
Okay. Let me think about that in a few hours, and then I will try something different. I think.
Also, Kiwi, if you want to go, go to say what you do. If not, I will do it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, what to even say about my channel?
He does deck profiles.
I,
Let's
I,
start with that.
yeah,
It's
yeah, I do a lot of kind of rogue, anti-meta style deck profiles. I often do collaborations featuring the replays of those decks and how they feature. I'm always trying to experiment with different combinations and things. I have help from my partner Silent on a lot of the videos.
which is
Um,
I would say this. I think the word for what you do is that you're trying to actually make a Yu-Gi-Oh story essentially, or something like that. I think that
yeah,
like
I mean,
let's
I'm
talk
just a
about it a little bit.
casual Kiwi.
Yeah, let's talk about it a little
Um,
bit over because he's just
yeah,
essentially making a story. If you want to understand more, go to his channel. But yeah, he can explain a little bit here. I just want to make it a little bit more of a understandable for all of you. It's just a Yu-Gi-Oh story. That's the point.
yeah, I mean, I'm just a casual Kiwi. It's just my experience as you see it, and I guess the more you watch of my content, the easier it is to understand. But
It's
yeah, it's
ridiculously
not
awesome.
something I can really explain too well myself, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you want to understand, you need to essentially be like watching his content and essentially maybe even be part of Discord if you want to. Not forcing you, but like if you really want to understand, because it's a little bit on the complex side. Just saying for a person that's been a part of it, and I think I can also speak for YT because it's a little bit complex.
Well, cheers, guys. I appreciate the shout out.
Well, everybody's here is going to get a shout out and shut up.
True.
Anyway, lastly, we have your somebody that likes to talk way too much, and I would say humble servant, but I'm probably not. But whatever. Anyway, I actually started to do my own new things. I did like really like to do a lot of deck profiles and combos and stuff like that, but then it's like, oh, let's do new stuff. So what I did is essentially something called Fusion Month, which I never got the time to finish. I'm hoping I will finish, but that's dependent on a few things and more time because these videos, as much as it'll look like, oh, they're not like high quality, just understand, I'm one person army. Even though I'm a team, I'm a one person army, so it takes time to create those. So, and set reviews are also a pain in the butt, but that's something that actually I think like you could say other YouTubers done that, but not in the way that I do this, at least for Yu-Gi-Oh. So I think that's a little bit of
Yeah,
unique
you
in what I
definitely
do.
bring your own style to NDL, and that's definitely something to be appreciated.
I'm not saying that like, oh my god, I'm doing something original because I did kind of receive the idea from another card game I really like to play, but I'm just really feeling a little bit of weirded out that nobody in the Yu-Gi-Oh community tried to do something simple as that and just actually explain to people the full set and actually give the cards rating so people will be like, oh, this is essentially overall what I could expect, essentially from that card, or at least from that person's point of view. And if you can disagree, you can say yourself. It's kind of weird that nobody ever did that before.
Yeah, well, that's definitely, for any, potential YouTubers out there watching, never feel like that this is a field where no stone has been left unturned. There's still some good ideas waiting out there to be discovered.
Yeah, and sometimes you are going to do something similar to somebody else, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be like everybody does that. So even if you do something like, for example, uh, something that like a YouTuber story, for example, let's take, for example, you can do it in your own way. It's different. It will not be the same as Kiwi's story. It will not be the same set reviews that I do if you want to take that idea. It's like, there are a lot of things that you can do differently, even if they're essentially sounds the same. They're just different. So, yeah.
Yeah, think about what you are adding to it. Like if it has a bit of yourself in the content, then it will, have something that's special to you in the content.
God, I really need to
And that will
change.
change. That will change it.
I really need to
I
change
like
the
to
name
think
of
that.
this.
No, but it is part of culture as well,
Yeah,
guys.
I
It is
guess.
part of culture as well. Is that people are not just their culture. They're not just the people around them. They're also individuals, and that's
Yep.
always something that's important to
Uh,
you know. You can't stereotype a channel just because it's similar to other stuff. You know.
mhm.
And I like to think at least that, when you see like a casual Kiwi deck, there are things you notice that are special to how I look at deck building. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, everybody
and
looks
and,
at
and
deck
that's the
building
same.
differently.
Yeah, that's the same with like NDL with your decks. I'm sure there's that level of yourself that you put into your deck building.
Yes, I don't like hand traps that much.
And all those sort of things, can help make your content special. You don't have to completely change the mold on every feature. Sometimes just changing one thing.
Yeah, everybody has his own style, his own deck building style. Like don't get me wrong, there will be some people that are actually doing things a little bit the same, but they're different people. Yes, I know everybody knows that, but sometimes people forget that. So I reminded you. I don't care what you say right now in the
Yeah.
comments.
Okay.
Anyway, anything else we want to talk about? Because it's almost 9 to me, and I'm hoping it's not too late for you guys. Just saying, because just like I want to do a time check so everybody will be okay with the time that they're at.
No,
I
I'm
mean, it's
fine.
heading towards 6 for me now, so I should probably think about getting tea on.
Yeah, we can finish on one subject or two and just finish it off. Um, and we can do
Yeah.
it next time. Anyway, again, maybe. Don't leave me alone in the dark.
It could happen. There's enough time.
But anyway, let's talk about a little bit of last things. There are a lot of like I wanted to essentially talk about archetypes, which there are a lot of them, but we are evolved it into something else. But just to let you guys understand, worst case scenario, if with these guys I cannot talk about archetypes, I will talk about them myself. So if you're interested in those, that will happen. But with these guys, it's going nowhere. Fast.
Oh,
just
thanks, India.
you
Don't
know,
worry, stranger. It's okay.
it's fine. I'm just being a little bit of an ass as usual.
Don't worry.
For anybody who knows your my personality, I'm a little bit like that. I'm nice, but I'm also like to throw the sting here and there just for fun. Not ever just trying to hurt somebody, but just for fun. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, what do we want to talk about a little bit? Because I would say we can use like a little bit few minutes to kind of like actually finish it as exactly 6 or something like that for you, Kiwi, and for me at 9, and for you at 1 o'clock. You still need to go to sleep, Whitey.
Yeah, well, I slept in the afternoon, so don't worry about that.
Great. Anyway, what do you want to talk about? Last thing that we want to do, or closing words. Let's think about that.
Hmm. Let me think about it. Mm. No, I don't have any ideas. It's 1 in the morning.
I
I'm
mean,
just
I would. Yeah. I guess I would just say, like, I hope, that people listening to this have enjoyed our conversation of card cultures, as well as, Yugi tubing culture. I do like that we broadened things out a little bit. I think we got a lot covered in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and
Um,
I will have a
yeah.
different title for it though, probably than what I originally created. God damn,
It's the most generic book club one.
guys.
Simple like that.
yeah, I'm sure you'll come up with something there.
The
Um,
capsum.
but yeah, like I still think culture has been important, and not to think about culture as just being, monofaceted.
We can revisit
There
this.
is a lot out there to discover.
yeah, we can revisit this one day. I'm probably going to split this into a few parts because we're recording how much time? Almost an hour and a half, so I probably need to split it to at least 2 to 3 parts.
Yeah, at least
Um,
two.
at least two. Worst case scenario, it's still a recording of audio, so it's not like I'm going to show something on my screen, so it's like I'm going to show something, of course, it would not be boring. But you know what I mean? It's like it's not really that important to talk about it, like to watch it, to everybody to
Yeah,
understand.
it was probably a bit late to say, but this is a great sort of video that you can put your headphones in and
And
use it
just
while you're
do
reading a
your work
book or playing
thing. I'm
YGO
probably going
Pro.
to mention that at the start because I'm dumb and we didn't mention this at the start. But anyway,
Okay.
anyway, the point is you can just do your work at home. I'm probably going to listen to the recording to see how that turned out after I put some few editing on it. Once I'm going to clean the house for Friday, before of Saturday, Shabbat, whatever you want to call it. I need to clean it a little bit, but I'm probably going to listen for that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. We are going to venture back to a few stupid things. We might be going to do a few more things in the future. I'm not promising we're going to record every single week. It's going to be uploaded a week from when we're recording right now, but you know what I mean. It's like it's not going to be every single week. You're going to expect one because do understand we do have our own lives. We just don't want to like our lives. I'm talking truly comes first. One of the biggest things that I notice that some creators do, which is a problem, but it depends on the creator, of course, is that your personal life come first. Don't just dissolve your life into this and just be like, oh, this is all I do in my life and that's it, because that's not really that healthy. I'm just going to say that out loud. As much as I love this game and everything, it's not the most healthy thing in the world. But anyway, you can watch it if you want to watch a blank, or should I say, a little bit of a blank, scream. But if you don't want to, you're more than welcome to just listen to the audio. Thanks for Casual Kiwi and YT for joining me on this one. I think next time we'll make a little bit like worst case scenario. Like we're probably going to revisit this maybe in the future, but next time I'm going to make a little bit of a subject that you cannot stride away from, like kings.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
No,
if you're still around for it, I'll definitely see what I can do.
what?
And
What?
I'll
You're going
try
to
not
die or
hijack
something?
the settings.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just going to send you the audio, and I'm not going to write you for the rest of the day. I think I don't know. I don't
Sure.
want not to come back. No.
Just don't come back and hunt me for that, please. I have works to do.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Just hunt me in the night, okay? There's some specific hours that you can come and hunt me. Don't hunt me in specific hour times. Like there's some hours that I'm not willing to be hunted. Okay? Is that okay with
Be
you?
sure to pass that on.
Yeah,
I
like
promise anything.
if there's something like that, I have a particular contract for work hours of hunting areas, so you're more than welcome to check that out if you want to on my own stuff. But anyways, truly
Okay.
now we're going to finish this. We're going to maybe do something in the future if you guys want to do. I'm probably going to do something around kings. I think in Yu-Gi-Oh. I think that could be really interesting because there are a lot of kings and stuff like that, and representation of like legions and armies and stuff like that. Military stuff. That could be really cool because there are a lot of stupid things about that as well. Unless, of course, you guys want to suggest something else, we can maybe even revisit this for our next recording. But I do think we should let this a little bit sink in. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
probably.
Maybe put it down in the comments what you think should be on the next one of these.
You don't need to do
Then
my
we'll
work
want
for
the
me.
audience interested.
Oh, it's
no,
cool. It's cool. I love
we know
those
what we
guys. I love those guys. They're really great. But yeah, I think we can be done right now. We can finish this, guys. Stop talking way too much. Let me finish it. Truly. But seriously though, I love those guys. We'll talk later, guys. See you all next time. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. It's actually being shown a lot of this in this podcast or recording. So do pay attention to that. Be more creative.
Absolutely.
And see you all next time. Stay
Namaste
safe.
and good night from me.
Bye bye.
Adios.